All Century 21 real estate offices are independently owned and operated.
Hi, I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker of Century 21, Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Welcome to the Real Estate Roundtable on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm here remotely with my husband, co-host, Bell Realtor, Pat Devaney.
Good morning, Jackie. How are you in your remote, secure location today?
Doing very well. How are you today?
Very good.
Excellent. Love to hear that. We have two guests with us today. Jesse Urgot, President and CEO of NeighborWorks NEPA, and Pamela Onslinger, Homeownership and Financial Services Manager. Hello.
Hey, Jackie, Pat. Thanks so much for having us. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here with us. We're here every Saturday at 11 a.m., Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on the Real Estate Roundtable. We have a full-time real estate office with many dedicated, relentless realtors who've been listing, selling, and appraising real estate for 50 years.
That's right, and we are often imitated but never duplicated, right, Jackie? During the week, feel free to email us with any questions you have at questions@jruddy.com. That's questions@jruddy.com. Or you could give us a call at 570-344-6724. And when you're at jruddy.com, click on the webcam tab at the top of the page, and you can see what's going on at Dunmore Corners. We have a camera on the roof, and we literally get thousands of hits a month on that camera. It's pretty amazing.
Look us up on social media, and don't forget about our radio shows being available on most popular podcast apps. When you go there, you can follow, subscribe, you can give us a rating. It's a great way for me to determine what people are interested in listening to and the topics that you really want to hear. I could tell by the downloads which ones resonate and which ones don't. So I'd like to give you more of what you want to listen to. So go to our podcast. You could go to jruddy.com/radio, and all the podcast apps are there. And then subscribe and follow. Okay, we have with us NeighborWorks Northeast PA, Jesse Urgot, President and CEO. Would you please tell me what NeighborWorks is and what you do, please?
Sure, Jackie, be happy to. Again, we appreciate this opportunity. We've been around for 40 years now. Our organization was launched in 1981, all the way back then, in really one neighborhood in the city of Scranton, focused on getting affordable financing products to neighbors who really couldn't get traditional financing to fix their homes. So we were kind of born out of this effort to, assist modest-income families in the region or in the city specifically at that time with financing to help do home improvement projects. Fast forward all the way to where we are now, 40 years later. We're a regional organization serving 5 counties here in northeastern Pennsylvania, and we really, our mission is to revitalize neighborhoods and create opportunities for individuals and families to improve their lives through quality housing and financial guidance. So we have a number of different programs, number of different services that we get out to the community to help with, enact that mission. Financial coaching and education, home buyer training, property acquisition and redevelopment. So we look for the worst house on the block. We try to acquire it, fix it up, and invest in it and get it into the hands of a new home buyer. We do aging in place programs. So we work with older homeowners to provide free modifications and home repairs to help keep them stable in their homes. And then neighborhood revitalization. So we do some kind of roll up your sleeves, really focused and intensive work in specific neighborhoods to try to make improvements there and make them better places to live. So all of that work goes back to our focus on the concept of home. We believe that home is where it all starts, and people, if you have a stable and safe place to live, then you can do a lot with that and leverage that for a lot of other good things in your life, and that's what we're all about.
Great stuff, and we've had you on before. You have been on our show several times, not you per se, Jesse, but many of the people that work at NeighborWorks NEPA, and Pamela has been someone that we've had on the show before talking about all your different programs, which are wonderful. and we like to give that information to our listeners. One of the things that you're here to talk about today, and we're anxious to get started on that, is the Stop Home Scams campaign. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So the Stop Home Scams campaign was launched nationally by NeighborWorks America. So we're also part of a national network of organizations, about 250 organizations across the country that are doing work like ours in community development and housing. So NeighborWorks America, based in D.C., kind of helps oversee that network of organizations. They launched this national campaign, which was also sponsored by Wells Fargo, to really bring attention to some of the scam activity that is really ramping up due to COVID-19. So unfortunately, anytime there is, kind of a major financial issue or people are really struggling on a grand scale across the country, it tends to increase scam activity, and that's what we're seeing right now. And unfortunately, we're seeing up to 21% of renters across the country are currently at risk of eviction. Seriously delinquent mortgages have hit its highest level in more than 5 years. So, a lot of people are struggling financially, as we all know. But unfortunately, what that brings is more activity from people who are trying to take advantage of people at their who are vulnerable. And this campaign is really all about bringing more information and educating the public on what to look for when it comes to a home scam. So Pam does a fantastic job for us, working directly with homeowners and prospective home buyers. She talks to people every single day through the home buying process and who are trying to avoid foreclosure. So I'm going to kick it over to her to talk a little bit about the specifics of the campaign and really how to spot those scams and what to do about it.
Pamela Onslinger, Homeownership and Financial Services Manager. What an awful thing. People are down and out, struggling, and really have a lot of hardship on their hands, and then they have to worry about scams. We've been seeing scams at our office and our personal lives. I've seen at least daily something come across that someone's trying to take advantage of somebody, and it's awful that we're all down on our luck since the pandemic, and there's always someone there to kick you down further.
Absolutely. It's definitely very sad to see, and the best thing you can do is protect yourself through education, and that's what this campaign is all about, is trying to help people get the right information, get the resources that are available to them that are correct. And those scammers, they really know how to appeal to someone's emotions and, what we want. And when that happens, we tend to want to believe it, and sometimes we don't ask the right questions. And that's really what this campaign is about, is to help protect yourself and prevent getting involved in a scam. Your home is so important to you, and when that's at risk, it's very scary. And the Stop Home Scams campaign is a really great effort to try to help people, also report scams. And that way other people can learn through those experiences how to protect themselves as well.
What's the most common scams that you're seeing? I mean, I'm sure we're all familiar with we're getting the call that their Social Security number has been suspended. I don't know what that means. Or I get the call from Microsoft. But I know someone who was a victim of this scam, and they're a smart person. And they actually went and bought gift cards and paid it off in gift cards. I was absolutely amazed. What's some of the scams that you're trying to prevent?
So I would say one of the most common ones is companies offering to guarantee outcomes. When you're behind on your mortgage, it often is reported to your credit report. A lot of things monitor your credit without you even knowing it. And, that's how you get your credit card offers. That's how you get your mortgage offers. Scammers also are monitoring that kind of behavior as well. And then they start targeting you for refinance options, get out of, debt quick, concepts. And the number one thing is that no one can guarantee anything. Unfortunately, we all want that guarantee when we're struggling. But at the end of the day, I can't guarantee. I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know, how the outcome's going to go. And if somebody is guaranteeing that they can get your loan modified, they can save your home, and more importantly, they're charging you for that guarantee, that is absolutely a scam. As a HUD-approved housing counseling agency, we offer foreclosure services for free. We are not allowed to ever charge for that service. So if you need assistance, going to a HUD-approved housing counseling agency will allow you to get quality service for no cost. So, working with an agency that's guaranteeing things and charging you, and I get that. I've had several people say, what are you going to do that's different than this place I paid? And my first reaction is, well, I'm not going to take your money.
And that's the biggest red flag is when these people reach out and they want a fee in advance for their services.
Absolutely. Another one is providing your personal information over the phone. That's you hear people say it all the time, but when you think your mortgage company is calling you and they're trying to verify that it's really you to talk to you, know your rights. Know what they are allowed to ask. No company can call and ask for your complete Social Security number. The HIPAA law changed how companies can gather personal identifiable information, and in order to verify somebody's identity, you really don't need full address. You don't need full Social Security or date of birth. It's a combination of two pieces of information, and that could be as simple as the last four of your social, the beginning of your address. I live at 123 ABC Street. It doesn't have to be the complete information. And scammers look for that. They want that complete information because with your Social Security number, date of birth, and address, you have everything to take that person's identity now.
Well, one of the scariest things that I'm seeing is that companies it's so easy through a computer to call somebody and it looks like a legitimate number. And oftentimes, I know it was happening to our local sheriff's office where there was a scammer that was calling people and they used that number. So when the number came over, people thought that it was actually the sheriff's office calling them. And they're disguising who they are through phone numbers.
Yeah,
that's right. They were saying they were the sheriff's office, and they had a warrant for someone's arrest. And unless you go out, here we go, and get the gift cards, we're going to send somebody from the sheriff's office to come and lock you up. And then the sheriff's office was getting the calls. It's unbelievable. These people are so sophisticated.
Or a government agency. So how many times are you going to be able to know that other person? They can say whoever they want to say that they are. So I think a lot of times the information that I've researched is hang up, call them back at that number, and try to connect with them at that number. Call the real number of the agency that claims that they're calling you. And so therefore you're not giving all that sensitive information to the stranger over the phone who's pretending and has disguised their real phone number.
Absolutely. I've done that myself. My student loans, I was getting phone calls and messages regarding my student loans, and I called my servicer directly and was very concerned. I'm like, why am I getting these calls and why am I getting these messages? And they informed me that they don't even have the capability to call out at their offices. They would never call me. They, took the time to explain. They would always send something in the mail, request a conversation if I needed more information. They even went over how they verify somebody's information, so that way if I ever did get future calls, I would know how to identify that wasn't them. And, not answering the phone or saying, hey, thank you so much for calling me with this problem. I will call you back in a few minutes, hang up, and then call your company and verify that it really was them contacting you is a great way to protect yourself.
Yeah. And you know what, Jackie, I think one of the things that, one of the best lines of defense is people's own gut instinct. Many times when something just doesn't sound right, it probably isn't. And, what we've found is that people who get caught up in scams are typically subject to pressure and to kind of someone who's on the other side playing off their emotions and pushing them to do something that they know they're not comfortable doing, but they feel like they have to. And if it's a reputable agency, or if it's a legitimate call, then they're always going to back off and allow you to either call them back after you've had the conversation with somebody else, or to double check and verify. They're always going to allow for that. So what we tell people is, always take that moment, take that step, to ask to call them back, whatever you need to do to collect yourself. Because what happens is people kind of get sucked up in the moment. They get pressured into doing something, giving information. We heard about people going to buy gift cards and giving the gift card numbers, all these types of things that you're like, how would somebody go to that level? But when you're in that situation and the person is very good at scamming, you're vulnerable to that. And so, trust the instincts. Always take a step back, ask questions, get back to people, and if it's legitimate, you'll typically be able to find that out.
Well, when it seems too good to be true, it often is, right? So we often say that, Pat. And
all the time.
Yeah, all the time. And I'm thinking to myself, how do these scammers get somebody on the phone? Because we've gotten to the point in our home we don't answer the phone unless it's my mother. But we don't. We just, you get to that point, you don't know who that other person is on that other line, on that's calling you, and you don't want to deal with it. And it's usually either some political campaign that's calling for money, or
they want to extend my call warranty,
or they want to extend the car. I get those calls every day on my cell phone.
Right. And it's always a local number too, right? So they've figured that out.
They've changed the number, so every time they call, it's a different number, so you don't know who's calling you. And I have one of those
blockers,
spam blockers. Yes, from my phone and from Verizon. A lot of times I'll miss a good call, a doctor's office, because I don't have it in my contacts, and then it'll block that call. So it's not always good to have those things on a phone. But I'm, to the point where I don't want to answer the phone. It's that bad. We just received an unemployment. Pat, you want to talk about that?
Yes.
I received.
Can you believe that there was a claim for unemployment here at the office that was submitted? Listen to this. This is good. It was supposedly submitted by me to my boss. And you know who my boss is? My boss is Jackie Ruddy. That's my wife. And she gives it to me, and she goes, "Did you file for unemployment?" I said, "File for unemployment?" I said, "Are you out of your mind?" But somebody did it, and they had my full Social Security number, and it was sent here to the office for verification. So somebody was. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Well, Pat, don't feel bad about that. It happened the same thing at our office as well. And,
wow.
We just received some information from the Department of Labor and Industry today about how the amount of fraudulent claims are through the roof, and giving you steps basically to avoid unemployment scams as a company or an entity. So, we're talking about the Stop Home Scams campaign here, but scams are really prevalent in all areas right now. Unfortunately, Pam mentioned student loans, personal loans. We're seeing it on unemployment side in a major way. So, this is good information across the board. That there's certain things that are kind of triggering how you should respond to this, and especially taking a step back and making sure that your all of your bases are covered in terms of making your personal information is being protected.
Well, then I went to the state website for unemployment. What was it, the PPE? I forget which one it was, but I went through it, and there was a list of choices there where you could report that a fraudulent claim was made in your name. So hopefully they can't do it again. We've received no other information. But if they would have gone through and made the claim, not only would they get the money, but I would be on the hook for any tax liability.
Yeah, no, that is a really good point, and you bring up an excellent, follow up to the Stop Home Scams campaign, which is report it. It's not just about identifying the scam, but also taking the next step to help protect others. And like you said yourself, the tax ramifications or other fallouts from these scams can have impacts that you don't even realize. So, reporting it to the Labor and Industry Board or the Federal Trade Commission, State Attorney General's Office, or even the CFPB, which is the Consumer Finance and Protection Bureau of the government. And I'm on their newsletter, and every other day they're, posting new guidelines or doing new investigations. And that agency doesn't just investigate mortgages. They are the financial watchdogs. They cover everything from student loans to auto loans to title, programs where they take the title of your car and give you a loan, or the payroll, loans and things like that. And they're constantly putting out information and doing investigations and doing, major work. So taking the time to, let people know protects future, victims of scams.
It's scary stuff. With us today is NeighborWorks of Northeastern Pennsylvania. We have Jesse Urgot, who is the president and CEO, and Pamela Onslinger, homeownership and financial services manager. We're headed towards a break. Before we go, this is the time we usually cover a listing. All of our listing inventory is being sold within hours, days of hitting the market. So we don't have any listings to share, but I do want to welcome someone that just joined our office, our Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate family. Her name is Danielle Smoley. Danielle is a highly motivated self-starter who combines a love of architecture and design with 10-plus years experience as a professional corporate photographer. She's originally from Pittston, but now resides in Troop with her family. She is a Northeast PA native. She has one dedicated goal. She will be relentless in her efforts to serve all her clients completely and remarkably. So we welcome Danielle Smoley to our team. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. We'll be right back.
The talented team of professionals at Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. They're not just real estate agents, they're agents of change. They're on a never-ending quest for the best for you and your family. They can help you find precisely what you want at this time in your life. A computer, a website, an app, and a listing by itself can't do that. They're obsessed with better and deliver extraordinary, embracing the what if, not just the what's been done before, with a level of accountability and honesty not found anywhere else in the real estate industry. Don't settle for average, okay, or just all right. This change in your life is monumental, and there's only one Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate that will help you rock that change. Call 570-344-6724 and visit jruddy.com, JRUDDY.com. Each Century 21 office is independently owned and operated.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate on 94.3 FM The Talker. I'm Jackie Ruddy, broker, and with Pat Devaney, my husband, fellow realtor.
And we're back.
And we're back with NeighborWorks Northeast PA, Jesse Urgot, president and CEO, Pamela Onslinger, homeownership and financial services manager. That's a mouthful. Thanks, guys, for being here with us. We're talking about scams, everything that people need to know about. We're bringing awareness. I think everybody realizes that scams are on the rise, and how unfortunate, given the fact that we're all down on our luck due to the pandemic in one way or another, and then there's always someone willing, ready, and able to take advantage of someone that's down and out on their luck. So it's unfortunate, but we're bringing awareness, and you're seeing a lot regarding these scams that are hitting homeowners.
Yes, unfortunately, that's the case. It's just it's one of those situations where people are vulnerable because they're very concerned about their financial stability and the possibly losing their home or their living arrangement if they're renting, and so there's a lot of emotion involved in it, and people are able to pick up on that and take advantage.
One of the things that on that stophomescam.org that you are have been involved with, they say that avoid companies that tell you to stop paying your rent or mortgage. So they're actually telling people to stop paying?
Yes, absolutely. We all know that when the shutdowns happened, a lot of loan servicers offered forbearances. And, a forbearance is different. That is a negotiation, a contract that you work out with your lender to reduce or put a hold on your mortgage payments. If you just stop paying and you don't elect into that program, you're not protected. And that puts your loan into default and puts you at risk for foreclosure. And then those scammers can come in and say, hey, we'll save it. So just be careful and always talk with your servicer or landlord directly before you make any changes.
Good advice, Pam. One of the things that we've seen for a long time in real estate is when we put a listing on the MLS for sale and say it's a $250,000 home in Scranton, we find out we're not looking for it, but we usually receive a call shortly thereafter that it's for rent on Craigslist, and it's for rent for $500. Like, it's well below the real rental value that it would be if it were for rent. But there's scammers out there that take our listings, take our pictures, and then post them on Craigslist as a rental far below. And so we get a zillion calls. We have to go in and flag it in Craigslist. But we have, unfortunately, received many calls from people that have gone along with whatever the scammer put out there. And again, if it's too good to be true, it usually is.
They might say that I'm deployed, he's a soldier. They play on your emotions. I'm a soldier, I'm deployed, I need the money. If you could just wire it to me or send it to me. And it's amazing the way these people operate.
A lot of people will call us before they make the wire, but there have been people that have called us that are, when it was too late, that they already sent the wire, and they ask us to help them. And I wish we could, but there's no way to trace it or track it down. So they are successful, unfortunately, in having people wire money, and then it's a scam.
Yeah, that's a great point. And coming out of Craigslist and going into something I know that's more popular, at least amongst a lot of my friends and my family, is Facebook Marketplace. And now on Facebook, you can wire transfer within the messaging system. So you have all these things being listed, and then they're like, well, give me a deposit or give me the security, and I'll hold it for you. And then you find out that you've just transferred your funds, and you have no way of getting that back, and it was a scam.
I see that all the time on Facebook. I'll see like an electric bicycle that's probably $1,200-$1,500. They got it for $69, and all you have to do is send them the money, and they'll send it to you. And all you're doing is giving your money away.
Jesse Ergot, President and CEO, Pamela Onslinger, Homeownership and Financial Services Manager at NeighborWorks Northeast PA. How does someone get in touch with you, please?
Yeah, they can check out our website, www.nwnepa.org. That's the best way to find out more information about us. They can call the office, 570-558-2490. We also have a very active social media presence, so Facebook page, others, and they do just search for NeighborWorks Northeastern Pennsylvania, and they'll be able to find us. Would
you come back next week, both of you, please, because there's a lot more to talk about.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for having us.
We're out of time. Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Roundtable with Century 21 Jack Ruddy Real Estate. Remember, join us next Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 11:30 a.m. on 94.3 FM The Talker.